So in this project, we're organizing our code a little differently than we did in the project before, right? Because we're putting everything inside an object. Let's change it just a little bit more. ES6, aka ECMAScript 2015, introduced class syntax to JavaScript. JavaScript is an object-oriented programming language, but it uses prototypal inheritance, not class-based inheritance. So these are not really classes as you know them from other languages, but you can use very similar syntax. And they're a lot more convenient than trying to achieve the same sort of thing without them, if you need to get into some of that stuff. In our case, it's not going to change it much at all, but it's nice to use classes. They're nice. We like them. So let's do it. It's going to be tough. Where we say const, let's say class. And we name our classes with capital letters, not lowercase letters. So let's change that lowercase a to a capital A. If you can see, there's a little red squiggly here. It expected a curly brace, not an equal sign. Yeah, don't use an equal sign. Just class, app, curly brace. Now, we already used method syntax for these methods. You may remember the way we wrote init here. It's the same as if we'd written this. It's an item in the array with a key of init and its value as a function. But in ES6, you can use this method syntax. Well, now that we're using an actual class, method syntax is what we use. Difference now, it's not shorthand for the other thing, and we don't need commas in between them. In fact, the commas are bad. So let's get rid of these bad commas. 1, 2, red, blue, All right. Got rid of 4 commas. Behold, it's a class now. Now we do need to change the way we use it. Down here, instead of calling app init, we need to instantiate the thing. So we could say const app equals new app, like that. And we have this lovely init function. The idea is that we run that method right at the beginning, right? So if you have a class, you make a new instance of the class, and there's a function you want to run right at the beginning, what is that? Constructor. So instead of init, let's just change the name of this to constructor. Notice it already changed colors with my syntax highlighting. Yep, that's what you do. You don't give it the same name as the class itself. You give it the name constructor. And now it's a constructor. So instead of passing this object into init, we just pass it into our constructor. Now, one interesting thing about using a class versus the other way is we could just do this, and then we don't even have that global variable. We could just create a new instance and not bother saving it to a variable. Since we're not done with this app, I'm going to go ahead and save it to a variable so that we can still fiddle with it in the console. Otherwise, we'd have no way of getting to it. Data hiding would actually be working. But we want to be able to get to it, so we're going to do that. If we did everything right, this shouldn't work any differently than it did before. Refresh the page, add some stuff, it still works, deleting works. Yep, we're good. So, ES6 class syntax. Nothing wildly different from the way we were organizing it with an object. But now we could do crazy things like inheritance if we wanted to. It would still be prototypal inheritance. This is still JavaScript. But we could do it. And who knows? Maybe sometime, like an hour from now, we might want to do that. Use an ES6, or use ES6 class syntax. Questions?